Hey everyone, this is Peter Stone, and I today want to talk about the journey, the Peter Stone jewelry journey, and with a dream. And it was probably a pain that forced me to start my company. I don't like pain. I mean, I've changed my life because of pain. Certain things, like the way my lifestyle, was really fun, and then it became painful because it was too much fun. And so I changed it. Then, when I made that change, I had to go through a lot of pain. And in that pain is the growth, are the lessons, are all of our things that we need to pay close attention to. So one day I was on a merchant ship out in it was really the South China Sea. And I was having a conversation with an engineer on the ship, and it was a motor ship. And I didn't like motor ships. I liked the money the motor ships paid me, a lot of money, 6 figures in the year, working 6 on, 6 off. And I told this guy, I said, I didn't tell him I didn't like what I was doing. I said, but there's so much more in the world to do. And I'd had it with the merchant ships because now it was no longer steam powered and it was a motor ship. And I said, I'm not a mechanic. I can't be a mechanic. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for adventure, travel, making money, and a steam flow thermodynamics engineer. That changed. And after 3 years, I said, enough is enough. I'm leaving. I said, if I left this ship, I could make millions. I told this guy, Carl, and Carl's like, oh yeah, like we've been on these ships a long time. I've heard so many people say that. And this guy's, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I go, I'll show his butt. Carl, I'll show your butt. And ever since that day on that ship, I never forget, in the engine room, control room, I looked over at him and I'm talking to him, and it's like, yeah, right. So many, but the difference is all the people, he said, oh yeah, all those people. Well, it's just like after I started my business. They said, Peter, so many people come to my store, and you're the only one that did what they said they were going to do. So that was in Key West, Florida. This guy says, oh, if I had all these, I could buy all these shell earrings. I made 8,800 pairs. I came back to him, beautiful, all different colors, a beautiful line. I showed up and he's like, whoa, everybody just talks and they never do. Everybody just, like, I'm standing there with, I got boxes and bags of shell earrings, sterling silver findings, beautiful shell earrings, way back in 1988, 89, 90. I think it was 90 when I was at that store. And I'm like, what do you mean? You said you wanted a lot. What's your word worth? And that is another thing in business. What is your word worth? Some key points here that are critical to our best living, our best exciting adventure in life. Key points. Carl says, oh yeah, sure. Everyone says that. That guy says, oh yeah, all these people come in my store selling stuff. Nobody ever acted on it. And the list goes on. So that was after I started the business. And I'm like, I still have some shell earrings to date, over 20 years ago. But I laugh at it because it's an experience. I tied up a lot of money. I did something. I learned something. And this is the big thing. I hear when people sign up for a wholesale account and I talk to people and I said, like, why don't you place an order? Well, I don't know if it's going to sell. I said, no kidding. I took $5,000. One ship was tied up in Seattle for a long time. I had a job on that ship for 4.5 months. I loved it. I went to Indonesia. I went to the Philippines. I went all over Asia on that ship, making really good money. And it was a fun steamship, and I didn't want to quit because I had another 4.5 months to go. It was a great long, it was not a permanent job. I only took relief jobs like a temporary engineer on their ship. And they tied it up and tied it up and tied it up. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Too long. Show's over. I had a place in Seattle. Started to rain in the end of the year. I said, game's over. I'm leaving. I flew to Thailand with $5,000 cash. And I never knew a thing about sterling silver jewelry, nothing. Other than I bought some rings a long time ago in '85 and tested them out in Cape May, New Jersey, and the people liked them. So I remembered that. Then I took, it's about, the risk. You do some homework. I did some homework, and I knew sterling silver worked, but gemstones didn't. I tried gemstones. I bought gemstones. It failed. So now I knew what I had to do. And my vacation check was like very big. And so I took half of it, like $5,000 back in the day. And I said, I'm going to invest this money, just like the stimulus money, just like the programs and things I've offered. And I haven't seen hardly anybody. We see a couple of people calling, checking in, but I haven't seen a lot of people jumping on an opportunity. Why? And I believe a lot of people are afraid. Well, I got to feel safe. I don't know if it's good, but I've given solutions. And you got to pay attention because it's about the solutions. You can do anything you want. How do I know? I've done it and I continue to do it. That's that. You make up your mind. I'm not quitting. I'm doing it. Come hell or high water. It doesn't matter what you're given. I remember a Tony Robbins seminar. He goes, my wife and I were $683,000 in debt. Well, I was over $1 million in debt back in 2000. And I had this big pro team, and I fired him. And I took it over, and I took that minus $1 million plus and turned it into a plus 385,000 plus. And my bank was like, what? My accountant was like, what? How did you do that? I tell you this story because it's critical. I mean, business is not complicated. You just got to do the right things. And there's so much noise on the internet. Everybody's got the solution, and they don't have the history, nor do most of them have the experience that I have. There's a few out there that have 20 years experience, some 15, some 10. My hat's off to them. They work their butt off to get to where they are. And I also worked very hard because I had a vision. When you have a vision and you have a passion and you're connected and you say, I'm doing it no matter what, and this is critical to you making your money. I mean, how many projects are out there to do to make money today, right? But you gotta find something that aligns with your passion. And maybe it's jewelry, maybe it isn't. But in jewelry, this is what I discovered. So when I asked way back in 1987, how can I change my life? What can I do and keep traveling? And I looked at my hands, I said, wow, I could put $1 million worth of, not that I had it at that time, I could put $1 million worth of gemstones in my hand, put them in my pocket, and go around the world and sell gemstones. Sounded really good. It had a mystery and a ring and a travel. Well, 101 countries later, I've traveled. I've been to gem mines all over the world. I've met some so cool people, but the gemstones didn't work for me at the time. Because when I started selling them in '89, there was a big implosion. Businesses were failing. And I shifted to jewelry, but I didn't quit. I said, oh, yeah, I remember I went to Cape May in 85 and those people bought the silver. But my goal was to travel and just put it in my pocket and not have any bags. Well, the upside is I was carrying 35-pound bags, 2 of them, on the airline before they did all that stupid stuff in New York. On the airline, putting them, boom, I would watch the overhead drop a little bit and hope nobody saw it. 70 pounds of jewelry I would carry on the plane and off the plane and on the plane and off the plane as I cleared it through customs, rent a car, go to the customs, clear the customs, be intimidated until they knew I knew what I was talking about. Then they helped me. This is what I did with $5,000. And I flew back and forth, and I got some money and I sent it to my wife. She made some more jewelry with her team. And then I got more, and I kept on doing this, buy a little, sell a little, spend my Saturday night 2.5 hours in the traffic in Bangkok before they had any highways back in the early 90s. Was like, I didn't like it. But I had to get that package to the airport by 9 p.m. Saturday to get it in the EMS, the Express Mail Service, on the plane to America. So whomever was on the other side would get that package and go sell that jewelry to their customer. Today, it is so much easier. And I've done all these mistakes for you and for people. And it's not just the jewelry. You don't have to like jewelry, but there's so many messages in the jewelry. And that's what I was getting to, is that the point of the jewelry is that I learned to like the jewelry because the gemstones didn't work. And I started doing jewelry and I was getting exercise, right? And bigger bags, but still not container loads of giftware and things from Taiwan at the time. They used to knock ships, and I got ship parts polished up and windows and made tables and all that. So that I just said, no, too much, too big. I closed that business. I want small. I started the jewelry business so I could put some bags in my trunk and drive all over the United States, or fly around the world for that matter, and sell my jewelry. And I learned to love it. Why? Because I was meeting new people and they had designed, Peter, can you make this? And I'm going like, wow, what an interesting culture. What an interesting design. What an interesting group of people. Like one guy from Australia near Perth, Fremantle, and one guy from Ireland, Cork. They met here. They were friends and they each had a ring. And they said, Peter, can you make this? I said, sure. And the other guy from Australia and the other guy from Ireland, can you make this? And today, those are still our best selling pieces of jewelry. So I learned to love Celtic and I studied it and I learned history. So it's not just a shiny bit. It took me down a pathway, and then I started a journey of discovery of how the Celts lived. And then I connected with Viking people at Odin's Mound on the west coast, up in the middle coast of, oh gosh, what the heck is the name of that town? Of England. That's right close to Norway, and he was from Norway. And he spent 20 years working on runes at the foot of Odin's Mound. Runes, colors, this guy's amazing. And he showed up at my company one day, and we talked for 3 solid days, a 33-degree Mason. I'm like, what a journey. So the thing is that if you're on, on the bench and you're thinking like, oh, I'm afraid, should I do this? Should I do that? It's going to work. Just go out and get beat up and do it again till you get it right. But you got to make money along the journey. And I can help you do that. If you have questions, click on the links here in these videos, leave a message, and I can help you do this. Especially like there's the fears. I'm afraid. I'm not sure it's going to, who cares if it's not? But you know how it's going to work? You know how you predict your future? You create it. You decide that I'm doing this. This is what I'm gonna do. And you just start doing it. And you figure it out. I didn't have Google. I didn't have any resources to get these solutions where I was going in the world. I had no idea. I'd pick up a map, a paper map that sits in my bookshelves over here. And I love the maps. I would flip through the maps and I would go. And I did it. And I did trade shows, 99 in the UK, all over Europe. I started in Italy and I went to Spain. I went to France. From France, I went to Birmingham, England, and then to London. I did trade shows. Like I visited them for research. Fun. I mean, like really cool. And on the way, I went to some fun places and made some cool jewelry designs. You can do. It's not just about what I did, but it is, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't. It's about what you can do yourself when you take action. So what did I do? I invested my $5,000 in Thailand. Back in 87, I bought a bag. I didn't know how to fly here. I was on ships all the time. I don't know how to fly. It took me 36 hours one way to get to Bangkok because I wanted to do it on the budget. Man, I was exhausted when I came here. I was exhausted when I get back. And when I got back, I went to this place and bought jewelry on the street. And this company screwed people, screwed them. And they knew they could screw me so much, but they needed me to come back because they were smart. Really sly, smart, slick business people. So they made sure a certain part of my jewelry, maybe 70% was saleable. And the other 30%, they unloaded all the stuff they couldn't sell and gave it to me. And some of it was brass, silver plated. And I'm sure I still have a couple of those pieces kicking around somewhere, but who cares? It's history. It's a learning lesson. So I went out. I flew back to America, woke up in Key West, exhausted, right? Jet lag, double jet lag. I did all that maybe in like a week or 10 days or something. And I looked down, I sat on the edge of my bed and I looked down at this sports bag full of jewelry. And I'm like, now what are you going to do, Peter? You got $5,000 worth of jewelry, might cost in Thailand. What are you going to do? What do you have to do? What's the only option? You are tired. You go take a shower, clean up, eat, get some energy, go out in the sunshine of Key West and start knocking on doors. So in my purchase, I had size 5 men's rings, big men's rings. They let me buy size 5 because they couldn't sell them. They made a mistake. I got them, and this big giant men's ring, size 5. I mean, so yeah, they got me. But they also gave me stuff that I could sell. They knew I could sell because they wanted me to come back. And I came back many years. I gave them many hundreds of thousands of dollars in the end before I started my own company. So buy a little, sell a little. So I picked up that bag and I went to every store in Key West, jet lagged out. Guy never sold a thing before other than in his own store. I saw people come into my store. So I listened to them and I just kind of knew what to say, right? I knew a little bit and I knocked. I said, look, I've got some jewelry here. Some beautiful jewelry. I've got this sea live. I've got this. I've got this. And do you want to buy some? Right. No. Rejection all day long. Like I'm like thinking, whoa. It's kind of like doing business online. You know, you don't start out a hit. You got to earn it. I kept on going. 5:30 that night, I started out at 10 o'clock, 5:30 that night in Southernmost Hotel in Key West. It doesn't matter what the street is. It's one block over from the ocean, from South Beach. And I'm knocking on it. And I didn't know. I walked in. And this guy and I started talking. And so it's about relationship building. So we just had a chat about Key West and then talking about the jewelry. And he was an interesting guy. He was cool. And a lot of cool people in the Key West in the day. Now it's kind of like business, business, business. And it was fun back then, back in the 80s, 90s. And so he ended up buying $169 of jewelry. I don't know if he felt bad for me or he could use that. I know he wouldn't buy it if he couldn't use it, but he was helping me out, I'm sure, in the end, because I told him a little story. And we became friends. And he bought more jewelry and more jewelry and more jewelry. He told me what he wanted through business. And other people, I never quit. I went back to see some other people because the buyer wasn't in. It was the wrong time. I mean, 100 reasons. It doesn't matter. Even 5 reasons. You go back, you do it again, until you get the sale. That's it. And it's just kind of fun because everybody's store is different. You're like shopping, but you're on the right side, the money-taking side of the table. They are too, but you're helping them to take money because I was a wholesaler. So I was helping my customers. Then I started making display trays. I would carry my trunk full of display trays and I would redo people's cases because they were so bad. I said, no wonder, well, I'm not selling any jewelry. I said, have you looked at your cases lately? The layer of dust in there? There's less dust in my closet, my shoe closet, way in the back when I was a teenager than what's in your case. And that was in Annapolis, Maryland. I just tell you, you gotta make the journey work. And how do you make it? Persist, persist, persist. A little courage. And I know today they're constantly beating us down. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want. And if one state doesn't work, go to another state and just get out and live your life. The world needs people to help people right now because so many people are getting beat down and losing their vibe. What little positivity they had is getting squashed. So please, through the symbolic message and meaning of the jewelry is what I offer you. If you're like you don't know what to do to go into business, and I will help you. So I took the business from that 5,000, then I went back and bought another, I don't know how much, 3,000. Maybe I bought some more because I bought another 5,000 and then eventually 10,000. And I kept on going to stores and I'd build stores and I get phone calls and people say, well, you remember that dolphin? And then eventually I got a catalog. And today we don't use catalogs, we use catalogs online, right? And then I started drop shipping. And then I started an affiliate program. But when I settled down with a catalog in 1995, this woman in Tucson, Arizona said, Peter, this $20 million plus company. She didn't say the number, but I know they're like a $23 million company. And she goes, Peter, that company used to be right there. And right where you were. And they used to sell out of their trunk just like you did. And they used to come to shows and fairs and festivals. And you know what they did, Peter? They made a catalog. And their orders just went like this. So I made a catalog and a collection and started shipping. And my sales went like this. We had 3 people. Somebody answered the faxes in a friend of mine's house. He was actually the rep. One of my customers turned in to be my rep. And he had an empty part of his house. He says, well, put your office there. And we were pushed out in 90 days. Then we moved to 1,200 square foot space. And it was huge compared to that little space. And then we were pushed out of that in 9 months. The business exceeded $500,000 with that catalog. And I'm like, man, I don't have to sell out of my trunk because I've been selling out of my trunk for 8 years. And a fax, the magic of a fax, an order, I was like, are you kidding me? Look at this. What a money machine. $500, $800, $1,000. This paper just kept on coming through. And then I look at my bank. And that was in the days of check. There was no PayPal. There was nothing like that. A credit card and a bank transfer, a check, wait for the check to come. That's that. You give people credit. And the rest is really history. But I wanted to tell a little story about the journey of what I did, how I did it. I mean, in Thailand, when I was here in Thailand building my factory, I had 3 reps on the road that worked with us on different time zones, putting money in the bank 3 different times. And I would pick up the phone and call them when it was a dial phone in Thailand. And even before that, I used to have to talk to the operator to make a call to the United States of America. It could take 30 minutes to make one phone call. Just to give a little perspective of what I had to go through as far as persistence. And today, people have it so easy if they listen to the winners. And if you just listen to someone who read a book and the book was written because they went and studied 5 other people, well, the information gets a little bit tickled down and trickled down and weakened. But there's some really good books too. And there's some good people. And Peter Stone, some good companies, is one of them. And 3 decades of experience we have to share for you and help with you. Now, in our journey, we got to help people that didn't have as much as we did as Americans. We got to help a lot of Thai people who make our jewelry, who I love so much, and they love Peter Stone, and so many of them have been working with us for 25 years because they wouldn't go to another company. Their own people in their own country treat them really like, I saw it, I went there, I was immersed, and it made me want to give more. How can you treat people like that? Ooh. I mean, there's some human elements I am so thankful that I have no connection with and I have no understanding of. But I do only know one thing, and that's life. And all I can do is do my very best. And I have, and I'm here to give you my very best. My very best. I'm here waiting. My team's waiting. And we've taken this journey and we continue on. We hit a plateau. We had to figure things out with the IT. I mean, a plateau for 5 years, longer. But that's okay. That's like take a breather because we're full on like a bunch of racehorses. I mean, we did some pretty big numbers. We've generated over a quarter of over 250 million sales worldwide. More than that, much more actually, for people around the globe. And they still come back after 20 years. And the workers stay here, our team stays here, and their jewelry's finer, their life is finer. So I just got some news that 2 people that have been here for 27 years, they came like from the border of Myanmar, really poor. And they brought like 8 people, their family, to come and work. And they're the best. Dedicated, loyal. We give back and forth, back and forth. We give, they receive. They give, I receive. It's such a wonderful situation for all of us. And I mentioned before, their lives got better and they didn't get smashed, but one of their family did. 138 places got broken up on a motorcycle. And she had to leave. She could only, well, she worked for another year and a half after that, got put back together, and then she went back to her village and worked with her family. But her sisters, her brother, that was her brother's here, and his wife, and their children. And in a video that we're showing the other day, that's their daughter dancing out and doing the Thai dance out in front of our company. I mean, so when you go on a journey, life journey, this is a business, right? I got to make money. Yes. So how interesting is sitting on your damn computer doing I'm a commodity trader. I've got a Series 3 license. I've done a lot of things. And, that's fun and enjoyable. But I sit on my computer all day. I got the life adventure, do stuff, make things happen, have fun, meet people, improve the world along the journey of taking 5,000 and making 500,000. I don't know if you have a calculator, how many times that is I've turned that money, but I turned it into more than 5 million. Okay. So I tell you to impress you, yes. To impress upon you, have fun. It was like people would come in for interviews and they're like, Peter, in Delaware. And they're like, everybody's so happy. Well, how should it be? Shouldn't it be that way? Shouldn't everybody in the company, shouldn't it be a spill down that doing your work is a joy and a pleasure? Don't go to work. Find a new job. If it's not a joy and a pleasure and you're not passionate about it, you do 9 to 5. I honor you as long as you're loving what you're doing. If you're not loving what you're doing, get out, whatever it is. If it's 9 to 10 or 9 to 3. Doesn't matter. Like on those merchant ships, I was raking in the cash, working hard, traveling, having my room and board paid for, like a luxury hotel on the sea, being paid, getting my medical, food, and seeing different ports all over the world and making 6 figures. And I quit because I wasn't enjoying my life by doing that, giving up to 6 months of my life a year doing like probably 70% of the time what I didn't want to do, but I got all those benefits. I quit. And I found something better, just like a sale one time. I went to this guy in Charleston, South Carolina, super low baller. I had cash and carry. He said, Peter, I want to give you a discount, blah, blah, blah. He wants 35% discount. I said, I got a factory. I got to pay for these people. And it was so cheap, the jewelry. And he goes, no, look, this is what I got. I walked away. This is a really good lesson. I walked away and I needed quite badly at the time the $3,500 in cash. I needed it. 11 o'clock at night, I never forget, driving out of Charleston, out across the marshes, out tonight, Route 95 at like 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night in the dark. And I'm thinking, man, no, I am not supporting a low baller, cheap guy. I will not sell my jewelry to certain people. That's that. And he was one of them. I said, I have a factory and a group of people that need to be paid a fair wage. And I have operating expense for the beautiful jewelry. That jewelry you have, sir, is the best low price jewelry you're ever going to find, the best quality, value. So 30 days pass. My sales rep's out in Vermont and he faxes me an order. $5,000 order. No discount. Within 30 days. So if you refuse to accept less, what do you get? You get more. These are powerful life lessons that so many people overlook because they think, oh, price, or they don't recognize refusing less always gives you more. Refusing to settle for less will always give you more. I don't have enough. I don't know. Stop saying that. Because if you say that, you're going to perpetuate that energy, those vibes, and guess what? You'll all say that for the rest of your life. What you want to say is, the money has not arrived yet, and when it does, I'm going. But in the meantime, I know it's there, and I'm just waiting for it to show up. So this is what I'm gonna do. It always works that way. It's worked that way for 3 decades plus. So 5K to 500K, that was a little part of the journey. I mean, there's a whole nother part to this story. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it right here. And I'm going to tell you, if you want motivation and you want to identify your dream and get behind your passion and get on and connect with someone who knows how to do it, click on a link, leave your information, send us an email at hello@peterstone.com. Let us know how we can help. Sign up for an account, whether it's an affiliate account, a dropship account, a wholesale account, or I suggest you do all three because they support each other. And I'll teach you all about that. You get super powerful leverage. You don't have to guess. I can help you every step of the way. And you too can shortcut. I mean, it took me a while to get to 500,000, but you can shortcut to it. And if you really pay attention to it, you can grow and grow into your dream and make jewelry lines like I did. I bought and sold other people's jewelry for the longest time, like 4.5 years. Then I said, no, I want to make my own collection. I want to be unique. And niche is critical right now because you have a story and you can build that story as big as you want or as wide or as interesting. It's not about big. It's about fascinating, interesting. Like the journey. I call it the Peter Stone jewelry journey, my own journey. So if you're not on one or you've completed one and you're going to start a new one, I don't know where you are, but let us know. Let me know and let us know how we can help you. This is Peter, the founder and founder of Peter Stone Jewelry. I checked out the CEO part. I'm kind of sitting back and doing the video stuff, having a lot of fun at a new level, and here to help people and share my lessons that I've learned to help you grow your business. Because of all the people that have signed up and all the surveys I've ever sent out, cash flow. They say, Peter, I need more money. I can help you do that. Click on the link. Peter Stone. I'm the founder of Peter Stone Jewelry, 1987, more than 3 decades of, slamming into walls and dancing. Because life is a journey. I'll see you. Hello, everyone. This is Peter Stone. I started a little factory in my house. And today in Peter Stone, we have almost 100 people working. And many of those people, actually, I looked, more than 24 people have been with us for more than 20 years. My wife and I, she worked in another company. I said, come and help me. And she did, and we grew it. And it was a struggle. We grew it and hired a few more people and a few more people. I would go on a Saturday or Sunday, and people are working 6.5 days a week in filthy conditions. Food on the floor, rats running around. And when I first started my company, I would give people, sometimes they were sick, I'd drive them home and bring them up to their room. And when I saw their room and the running water on the 3rd floor going down from the bathrooms, I was like shocked. Wow. I said, this is unbelievable. It, like, my heart kind of ached and my gut hurt, my solar plexus. And I kind of drove me. And I said, how can we help these people and help Peter Stone grow? And we did that all through the years. And we worked at a level. we smile. We're still friends today. And their esteem has risen. And my mindfulness has improved dramatically. I have learned so much from the Time people about their focus and being okay. They work so hard to just remain in silence. And in that silence, they make beautiful Peter Stone jewelry that I love so much. I just love it. It blows me away because it's not my hands that make it. I do the designing, and the model makers, I sat next to them. Still today, they're here. For 4 years, training them how to do this. And took the people that set the mark aside, who are now managers, doing a menial job. They're managers, and they have self-worth, and the company has flourished. And today, we want to expand that. We want your help to show what a company can be like when we put heart and care into it. It can be profitable and touch the world in so many ways. A lot of people don't know, but we at Peter Stone know. And we want to go out and share this message and help other people do the same thing and share the same values. It's time. Because it's not all about the money. It's about the money. We got to have the money, and that's what this video is about. But what you do with the money and the heart that's involved in it, and the caring, and the beautiful pieces of jewelry that get created by such an amazing team, I'm eternally grateful. And for what you can contribute, invest, and fund into Peter Stone, I am also grateful for. We invite you for the journey because you are getting a part of something special. This is Peter from Peter Stone saying thank you very much.